It's almost funny how you have that awkward moment feeling as though you might not belong in that environment. You feel like you've got to sort of go along to a certain rhythm and do things at a certain time, follow along with particular actions, and yeah, I guess that's worshipping. But who are you really worshipping? God upstairs, or the man who's running the ceremony wants you to chant along? I went to church this morning for the second time I've ever been. I had 3 or 4 old ladies near the front, as you can probably imagine, and a gentleman on the other side looked like he was ready to receive his graces for the day. I come in, I sit near the back, as you can probably imagine, just trying to keep myself to myself, not trying to kind of get in the way. This old gentleman, he says, "Have you got your bits sorted? The book to do your hymns, to follow along?" I was like, didn't have a clue what you're talking about first time, buddy. He's like, "Follow me." Jeez. So gets the book, gets the bits and bobs, you know, it gives you one of those proper homely old man, like, you know, tap on the back, "Go on, son, you good again." So I sits in the back and we follow along, and it was nice, but it was sad to see that it was literally just the 3 or 4 old ladies and an old man, and a £5 donation in the box. I remember on the first time I participated because I was just wanting to try and fully take it in, but the second time to the year, didn't really want to get too involved with like reading them in the same way everyone else was. It was like, "Our Father Almighty is the only one. There is only one Almighty." A little awkward in it, mate. I felt a little bit outsider because I was just looking through it, but with respect. It reminded us of my childhood, the big church in Hilton Castle, the main one, when people still went to church. It was packed compared to today. But I remember that day, being in the back, listening to the words, and then getting called forward to come break the bread and drink the wine, and just thinking, that was something. The second time I was at peace, you know, I was able to try to maintain peace because I was still almost being swept away with the expectations of what people wanted out of us, in terms of, you know, seeing things on the right time, singing the right hymns at the right tune, looking up at the right time, bowing your head at the right time, standing, sitting at the right time. The first time I came, I was so held up with that, but the second time I sat to the left and I was able to sit in peace. There was parts though where it was saying like, "Thank you, Lord, for giving us this bread," or I'm paraphrasing something similar to that, which isn't obviously a bad thing. It's just literally at that very moment I'd walked up to the altar, unsure of if I'm actually meant to walk up, and he's like, "Do you normally get a blessing?" Or, and I'm like, I think I do normally, yeah. He's like, "Okay, God bless you and be with you." Buggers off back to my seat. A woman made us feel better this time. Not with words, with actions. We were singing a hymn. Our phone started to ring. She didn't answer it. She thought it was going to be the only one. Boy, did they ring again. And that put me at ease, you know. We're human. Things happen. I don't see me too different from those in Christian faith. If I'm honest, I'm agnostic myself. Like, I believe in some sort of being or God or something bigger than what we are, but I don't feel big enough to put descripting words on it, putting a label on it like God, because people then start imagining an actual figure in the sky. You don't have to put labels on it. I don't, but isn't it not nice to go worship, to sing songs and pray and praise and say thank you and be in peace and to sit in the presence of the universe? It's not even like you've got to tap into something mystical. Know how everything's exposed to the universe because we're on some sort of like ball. We're on like this ball. It has a sphere to protect it, but even that's exposed, and everything inside is exposed to the universe. Well, like, we like to see ourselves as ending here, and it does. But when you zoom out, be the universe for a second, with just one big picture, to expose yourself to God, it really could just be a case of like being in the presence of the air, but then focusing on like connecting in a different way, and they help you do that. And it wasn't a case of me feeling like I had connected with God, but I did feel more at peace, and like I'd put myself in a zone to where I wasn't in that same sort of headspace before or after. I can see this essence, and that we sit with the essence of the universe, but in terms of like calling it, I suppose God is a nice name to give the universe this something, this it, this thing. And it's not a nice word to use those words because we don't like to be called those ourselves. So that's why I think we came up with God. So I don't mind using the word God myself, but then people assume it's some figure in the sky or some sort of, dictatorial figure who's judging you. God is time and space. He gives us the space for matter to even be, and the time to even to move forward, to animate. Beyond that, expectations out of us, I'm not entirely certain. Perhaps there are no expectations. The world's cruel, because there are none, but maybe there are expectations out of us, and if that's the case, maybe that's a cruel way to torture us while we're here, because if you expect something out of someone who's in the grasps of others, it's a hard ask sometimes, but I suppose you've got them proving themselves even when things get tough. Imagine for a second, right, that the universe was alive and God was a thing as well. So not just that the universe is expanding and it has its own way of doing things. It's not just that, but that there's something even bigger outside of it. Is it wrong to say it's bigger outside of it, and maybe something that coexists just as big, that holds the pieces together, just like a man with his car? I'd love to hear any kind of comments about it, so if you've got anything to add, then I'm all ears. Excited to hear from you.